Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
This is your friend, walking. Just say no. You know, no.
Sometimes in our lives, we all say no.
What is this, an after-school special over here?
Yeah, what is this, an after-school special? You remember those Dare to Keep Kids Off Drugs back in the day? Little Nancy Reagan project? Just say no to drugs. Yeah, that worked. But yeah, that's the topic of today. Not drugs, but saying no and the importance of saying no in your career. I know this is kind of flies in the face of what I said before about the importance of saying yes to things and taking on things and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. But there is that fine line that when you cross over it, you get diminishing returns. So how do you know when you've crossed that line? That's a good question. And I have an answer for you. It's when you're stressed out beyond frickin' belief, like I am right now. That actually sparked this episode because I'm in a rush right now. This is not going to be a long episode, but I wanted to talk about the importance of saying no. Some of these things that are happening in my life are just life stuff. Some of them are projects that I've decided to take on. Some of these are sales that have come in out of the blue, which are good things. But you put some of these things together, all these things together, and some commitments you've made, and all of a sudden, you've got a nervous breakdown on your hands. So, yeah, when do we say no? Well, we say no when we are spreading ourselves too thin. When you don't have the time to devote presence and quality to things that you're doing, then you're probably saying yes to too many things, and you might need to dial it back a notch. Saying yes in your career early on is great, or when you're having a period of stagnancy, when you need to get the ball, rolling, and you need to get some action going, say yes to a lot of things. Say yes, but you'll see when you get over to the other side where you start not being able to answer phone calls and you're not able to have any time to yourself and you're just so stressed out that none of it's fun anymore. It's just like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? I mean, that's the whole thing, right? We're supposed to enjoy our time here. We're supposed to enjoy our lives. I've been so busy recently that it's just like, oh, I've been very productive, but I don't want to look back at my life and be like, it was a productive life. I want it to be, yeah, sure, it was productive, but I enjoyed it. Like I remember all the moments. I remember all the projects I did fondly. And, even this week or last week, like you don't want to be so bogged down that you don't even remember what you did. That's no good. So let's figure this out. A lot of this with artists and with me personally stems from being a people pleaser. A lot of us, we get into the arts because we're, we have something to express. We crave a little bit of attention in a healthy way, but also, we want to express some side of ourselves that maybe would be otherwise hidden. Now, my people-pleasing tendencies, say that 5 times. My people-pleasing tendencies have done me well or served me well in my career because I've wanted to do certain things. I've made commitments to certain things, and it's kind of reinforced me following through and doing them because I don't want to disappoint the person that I committed to, and I don't want to disappoint myself. Now, that's a good thing, but it can kind of cross over into the dark side and have diminishing returns when you're just trying to please somebody who doesn't really care or cannot be pleased, or you're just getting yourself in the weeds because you're trying to please too many people. And that's really not a healthy way to live your life, right? Being true to your word is, making commitments and following through on them is, but you shouldn't really be doing them just because you want somebody to, feel good about you, or like, oh, that person is really, really stands by their word and gets the job done. That's great, but it should be a healthy byproduct of you doing it for yourself and doing things for the right reasons. And look, I know this is hard, not saying yes to somebody or not following through on something or not taking on a certain task for a people pleaser sometimes, or not, making the other person feel like, you're on the same page with them. It's like a death to a people pleaser. So I feel you, and I've been there. It's one of the hardest things that I've had to try to correct in my life personally, because it has served me well in certain ways, but then in other ways, it's been really a detriment to my growth as an artist and as a human being. And just to have like a healthy emotional life, it's just like, if you're always trying to please somebody else, then you're bottling up a lot of emotions and stuff. So let's work on saying no to people. And also, look, this has really been something that shot me in the foot many times with selling artwork too, because I'm so interested in making sure that somebody's happy that I'm too quick to offer a discount. Or if they have something wrong, oh, well, don't worry about it, I'll just pay for this. Or, oh, I'll just pay for your VAT charge, or whatever, I'll just pay for the shipping, or blah, blah, blah. And without really even investigating and finding out if that person even wants that. Sometimes these problems are really not a big deal, or sometimes just somebody wants to pay full price for your artwork, but you're so ready to please them that you're like, I give friends and family discounts. My wife has been really good at saying, don't offer a discount if somebody hasn't asked for one. Some people like to pay full price. Some people value your work. And if you would give too many discounts, or if you try to please them too much, you're almost devaluing, let's try speaking again, devaluing your own work. And that's no good. So that's another, way that it can kind of rear its ugly head and damage your reputation as an artist. Being the person who says yes to everything can also be damaging in a way that people get used to it. They get used to you being there all the time, or being supportive all the time, or whatever. And then they just come to expect it, rather than kind of knowing, oh, this person is just very supportive. This person is, always showing up for me. A lot of people do appreciate that, but sometimes people just take it for granted because they're like, oh, that person's always there. They're just always saying yes to things. So that can also cross over to a negative side, with that. So, it's good to be supportive. It's good to be there, but don't be there for the wrong reasons. Again, don't be there because you just want to make somebody else feel good, or like, oh, I just want them to like me, or I want them to see that I'm supportive, or whatever. If you're being supportive, do it for genuine reasons. Do it even if you didn't care what this person thought of you and you were genuinely just going to be supportive because you liked something. That's the right reason to do it. Not because you're trying to win a popularity contest or, show people how supportive you can be. So yeah, saying no can be a little bit more abstract than just saying no. It can be like reeling in certain behaviors. For example, with sales, with being too quick to offer discounts, too quick to say, yeah, I can work with you. Yeah, I can work with you. Or I'm just going to pay for shipping. Imagine doing that over time. Like, I sell about 100 artworks a year. And if I was doing that on each piece, that could amount to tens of thousands of dollars that you're giving away, or whether it's a couple $1,000s, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of money as an artist. So just be careful with what your motivations are, why you're making these decisions. Now, how about in a more difficult scenario when you're talking about committing to certain things? Like, let's say there's 3 or 4 show opportunities that you want to do every single one of them, right? Yeah, great. If you can do them and you can be present at each of them and you can give 100% to each one of those and show up, then yeah, by all means, commit to all 4 shows. But if it's going to be one of those things where a few of them are opening on the same night and you got to say no to one of them, to being there in person or showing up in a Zoom opening, or let's say you're just running back and forth and you can't be there and people don't know where to go, which show to go to, you're not present enough to sell your work, or you feel scattered, that's obviously going to be damaging to you also. Not to mention the fact that the gallery owner or whoever's putting on this show might just be like, why is this person not here? Or like, why are they so manic? You know what I mean? Why are they speaking like they've just smoked some meth or something. No, or why are they not here? Why are they not giving me their time? I think sometimes it's better to say no to a couple of things so you can actually be present at one and give it 100%. And that can be with anything. That can be with so many different things. I think a good gauge of trying to figure out whether or not you're saying yes to too many things is just if you're in that state of like feeling like you always have to catch up. Oh my God. I can't do this. Oh, I gotta do this. I find myself in that situation a lot just because I have a lot of irons in the fire. I've made a lot of commitments with, certain galleries or, online art marketplaces or clubhouse rooms, podcast. And yeah, they're all great things. But sometimes if it's affecting your mental health, or if it's affecting your ability to be present with your family, or it's affecting your ability to create your art, which is what you're here for in the first place, then yeah, you need to learn to say no to a couple of these things. You need to learn to set boundaries. Just like you'd set boundaries with other people who are affecting you negatively, it's like you're setting boundaries with yourself. As weird as that sounds. Preston, we need to set some boundaries. You're suffocating me a little bit. And that can happen. We can be our own worst nightmare. Just like with meditation, learning to calm that voice, that inner voice that's just constantly rambling and can be your worst enemy. It's similar with these commitments. It can be something that you're doing for all the right reasons, but it's having a negative impact on you. So think about these things. Think about why you're saying yes. Are you saying yes for the right reason? And if you are saying yes for the right reason, do you have time to give it your all? Do you have time to really commit to that thing you're saying yes to? Or are you spreading yourself too thin? So speaking of spreading myself too thin, I got to go to the post office and mail the package out to London, which is great. But I wanted to get this in here quickly, and I wanted to get it in here with some presence and with my full attention. So I blocked out some time to do that today. Look at me trying to take my own advice. Practice what you preach. Church. So yeah, hopefully this has given you something to think about. I know a lot of you are people pleasers out there. I know some of you aren't, but you just overcommit to things. And it's just it's another skill to get good at. And maybe you're in that part of your career where you need to say yes more often. That's fine. But I guarantee you, if you're being effective in your art career and you're starting to sell work and you're starting to run your own art business, you're going to hit that place at some point. You're going to hit that stage where you need to learn how to say no and to dial things back a bit and to be selective with what you say yes to. So just think about it and reach out on social media or anywhere if you have any questions. And let's start saying no, my babies. Walken, take us away.
No.
No? Well, there you go, I guess. It's easy as that. See you next time. This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.